So as I said earlier, my name is Angelica de Leon, and I'm one of the sheriff's coordinating the rest of you guys are all employed. He's on our chief. I'm from Overlap for running for today. So I'm here right now with my next first speaker for today, and his name is Arel Moodie. So he's the best over of your starting point of success, and he's known as America's top speaker. The White House shows that one of the top speakers is not only we all got European finance, international caliber full of speakers and high energy communicators. And name him author 30 on the longest America's coolest entrepreneurs. Joining people like There's a magazine said that I was
It's a button right here. Oh, okay.
Stories. He is America's top speaker. The New York Times and USA Today also recognize him as a top generation entrepreneur. Arel both worked in the projects of Brooklyn, New York, when he witnessed those around him being murdered in his business. College became his only way out into the natural opportunity there to change his life. He was the president of Harvard College Organizations and named one of the top employers at high school. Also, he was named the most outstanding graduate senior of his class. And it has spoken to over 150,000 students in 48 different states and 5 countries. Was still in his 20s and has built $1 billion in media production and education company, also before his debut. In his spare time, he likes to dance and has performed with family and work here at Madison Square Garden and his wedding last video has over 2 million views. Please put your hands together and help me give a big vote to Arel.
Alright guys, so there I was, staring at this phone, hating my life. I did not want to do what I was about to do, but I had to make ends meet because I believe I had the worst job ever created in America. Worst job. What do you think it was? Retail? I did it, but not that. Yeah, something else. What? No, way worse than that. I used to work, I'm going to see if any of y'all know what this is, as a telemarketer. Okay. By show of hands, anyone ever do telemarketing before? Okay. For those of you who don't know what it is because you're too young, I'm going to put you on, okay? You ever get a robocall, like someone just calls you and they're like, hey, we don't know you, do you want a free cruise? And you're like, this doesn't seem too good to be with you, okay? That's what I did. So, for my friends who telemarketing, did you like it? Was it good? No? No? It's the worst job in the world. This was my life for, it was a part-time job when I was in college. 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. I do electricity car insurance, flip. I do electricity car insurance, flip. I do electricity car insurance. Don't ever call my house scared, I hope you fall in concrete, break your kneecaps, die, and kids get cancer. I was like, oh my God. Like, I heard the worst things. So I hated it. Now, out of curiosity, do any of you hate getting called by telemarketers? Do you just like, I'm gonna put y'all on in case you don't know. We don't like calling you way more than you don't like getting called by us. Here's why. When you hang up, you're done. When you hang up on us, we still gotta keep going. It's the worst, so I hated it. Now here's what's fun. If you've never had a job you hated, well, just out of curiosity, by round of applause, anyone ever have a job they hated before? Clap your hands if you ever had a job. I hated it. Okay. Ever a really, really boring class? Boring class, show hands. Okay. Now here's what's fascinating about it. If you have a job you hate or a boring class, you learn how to play these games to mentally get through it. Nobody teaches you these games. You've never sat down and learned them, but we've all created the exact same game. I'm gonna break down some of these games for you. Tell me if they sound familiar. How many of you ever played the game, I'm gonna go to the bathroom 5 times in one shift? You ever play that game? Then you go to the water fountain so you can get people to go to the bathroom. But like, you can't stop me from going to the bathroom. I got rights, right? So you're a bathroom one this time. How many of you ever played the game, let me ask questions that I already know the answer to, just to make it seem like I still care about the position? And ever play that game? Like, oh, where's the file on my desk? I knew that. And this is my favorite game. And I don't know how we all learned this game. We all created it. Who's ever played this game? You look at the clock and you say, okay, it's 10 o'clock. I gotta be here for an hour. What I'm gonna try to do is not look at the clock for what I feel like is 20 minutes. And then when 20 minutes pass, I'll check the clock to see how much reality has matched my perception. Has anyone ever played that game? This game, right? So what I used to do, I had a 4-hour shift, I would do 30 minutes. I would say, don't look at the clock for 30 minutes, do whatever I need to do. If I get 2 30 minutes in an hour, 8 times the shift, I'm good, I'm home, right? One day, for whatever reason, I got the great idea. I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do the Olympics of the clock game. I'm not gonna look at the clock for the entire 4-hour shift. I'm not gonna check it once. I said, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So, I get up, pick up the phone, I was getting cursed out for like 1 hour went by. I went to the bathroom at least 8 times, but like another 2 hours went by. Cursed out, hung up, I was like, man, this is the longest. And I wanted to look at the clock and I'm like, I was good with it. Finally, I was like, this is definitely the 4th hour. I know this is the 4th hour. Let me check how much time is actually left on my shift. When I looked at the clock, in reality, only 15 minutes have passed by. So I was like, this is just gonna be one of them days, right? So I was like, man, like, so I remember just staring there, looking at the phone, taking a deep breath and getting angry, and asking myself, is this my life? Is this what it's about? I have to do this. If you've ever had that kind of experience, that might have been the reason why you decided to come here. That might have been the reason why maybe you left a country, maybe why you left a relationship, maybe why you left a city. Because you said, this can't be what I do for the rest of my life. And I remember staring at the phone going, I can't take this anymore. What are my options? Wait, do I have to go? Well, I just gotta keep following. So, hung up the phone, picked it back up again. This was old school, by the way, when you did phone calls, it was still a computer. It was a long list, and you just had a highlighter, and you just crossed out names. So you know what I'm talking about, right? Just go down the list. So I was like, all right, next call. Pick it up, ring, ring, ring. I would say maybe a 5, 6-year-old girl, a little tiny girl. She goes, hello. I'm like, hey, my name's Arel, I'm a car insurance company. I'd like to give you a quote. Is your mother home? She goes, 1 second, let me check. Mommy, are you home? Yes, my mommy's home. I'm like, that's great. She put her on the phone, like, can I speak to you? Mommy, the man said he wants to speak with you. My mama wants to know what you want. So that's kind of a fair question, right? So I was like, my name's Arel, I'm from a car insurance company, we want to give you a quote to see if we can give you a better rate. But in my head, I'm like, how do I possibly explain car insurance to a 6-year-old? And then how do I explain, you don't know who I am, your mother doesn't know who I am, she's not expecting this call, but just put her on the phone. So I'm like, you know what, I'm from a car insurance company. If you could just put her on the phone, I'll tell her what I'm here for, and then she can decide if she wants to talk to me. She goes, Mommy, the message is from a car insurance company. My mommy wants to know which company. I was like, oh, man. Here's what's funny about this. I want you to catch the like succession of events. I'm already having a bad day. You ever had this experience? Having a bad day just doesn't start off the way you want it to. Kind of gets a little bit worse. And then something happens that maybe isolated by itself is not a big thing. Does that make sense? But because of when it happened, in succession of how it happened, you lose everything of like how it is. Right? So this back and forth, this little girl happens for like another, I don't know, 6 times. And then I lose it. Because this is what happened. The little girl says, my mommy said, if you want to speak to her, you have to hang up, call this other number, and then she'll speak to you. And I was like, who is this lazy woman? Like, because what I imagined is, like, either like, I was on like that landline and she had a cell phone, she was too lazy to get from the back of the house to walk to the front of the house. So in my head, I kid you not, I imagined she was sitting in the back of her house, like watching TV and soap operas, not want to get up, eating Cheetos and Oreos, and the crumbs would fall into her belly button, and she would take it and eat it out again. She was lazy and nasty. And I said, I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't like this job. The little girl was cool. I know she was in this house. I'm not evil, right? But I made a decision. Now, I'm not proud of this decision, but it's a decision I made at the time. And sometimes when you're angry, you make choices. So I said, I'm about to get fired from this job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang up, pick up the phone. I'm going to call the other number, and as soon as she picks up, I'm going to curse her out. I'm going to curse her out with every curse word I've ever heard, even the ones we all know in Spanish, right? So I was just going to let her have it. So I hang up the phone, and like, you ever notice when you get angry, like for everyone, anger shows up in your body a little bit differently, right? For me, my like throat starts beating, like my heart feels like it's in my throat. I get this like queasy feeling in my stomach. I start breathing, like, right? So I'm just like gonna just tear into this, like, so boom. And I'm just like, I can't wait. So I dial the number, and I was like, in my head, it was gonna be this glorious moment. I was gonna curse her out. I was going to my job, like, get you, man, kick over some cups, walk out, done. That's what I did. Call the number, just wait. Phone rings. Someone picks up. This is what I hear on the other end. It's very important. What I hear is, thank you for calling the TTY number. How may we type your call? So let me break down for those of you who aren't familiar with the TTY system, because it's a little bit old school, but some of us know what it is. So our friends in the deaf community, back in the day, there's a special number that you call, it's called the TTY number. It's a relay system. Here's how it works. So let's say someone's deaf and wants to speak on the phone. Now this is before texting and Skyping was kind of rage, right? You call up an operator. The operator types your message. It shows up on the screen for the person who's deaf. They type back, and then the operator speaks to you what the message is. So it's literally this relay system. It still exists. It's still a thing. It still functions. Now, you know, we have text and Skype, so we can kind of do that. But that's a major form of communication. It's actually funny, too. Not too long ago, a couple years ago, actually, I told a story. This guy runs up to me and says, yo, I really appreciate everything you shared today, but I just couldn't wait to tell you. He told that story about the TTY operator, and I was laughing on the inside because he said, so I can hear and speak, you know, normally. My mom is deaf. So I would call a TTY number all the time to speak to my mom. He said the funny thing is sometimes when you speak to your mom, you get a male operator, right? So he's like, you know, I'm talking to my mom, and sometimes at the end of the phone call, you know, operator will be like, I love you too, sweet pea. And then how it goes down, right? So the woman wasn't mean, she wasn't lazy, I'm sure she wasn't nasty. But what happened, which I'll never forget, is that in this one moment, I went from pure rage, pure anger, hating everything, to in a moment, changing the way I felt, changing the way I looked at the position, the job, and changing how I looked at myself. My goal with you today, in a very short amount of time, I know some of you, look, I get it. Some of you looked at the schedule today and you was like, how in the heck are we going to do all of these sessions in one day? This is why. How many of you have ever done Tai Chi before? Okay, how many of you, this was your first time doing Tai Chi today, right? Some of you are like, this is awesome, and some of you are like, how long are we going to be doing this? Like, everybody processes things a little bit differently, right? It's an amazing thing. Now, what's interesting is that concept of perspective and time. Because there's experiences you've been in, I promise you, 10 hours feels like 10 minutes, right? And you had the experience where 10 minutes feels like 10 hours. It's all relative. So it's actually interesting. I remember a mentor told me. He said, how heavy is this bottle of water? Simple question for a mentor. Very, very wise. He said, how heavy is this bottle of water? I said, well, it's about 16 pounds. He said, no, that's how much it weighs. How heavy is it? What do you mean? It's like, well, is it heavy or is it not heavy? Well, it's not heavy. He said, okay. Hold it straight out. I said, okay. So I held it straight out. And after about 5 minutes, I was like, where are we going with this? Like, just keep holding. I was like, it's heavy. And then it got heavier. Not because of the weight, but because of how I perceive my experience. That's called theory of relativity. Everything is relative. So this seems real life. I can go like this and put it down. But if I hold it out here for an hour, it's real heavy. So what's fascinating is, I promise you, today is going to fly by. This week is going to fly by. I promise you, time, wait, it's way quicker than you think. I became a parent about 5 years ago. I have 2 children. Anybody have children here? Okay. So when you become a parent, you learn that life is short years and long nights. Does that make sense?
Amen.
Short years, long nights. That's life though. I realize you just become more aware of it. You have that kind of indicator, that marker as a child. If you don't have a child, that's fine. I can prove to you how quick life goes. I'm going to prove it to you right now. How many of you, if I say close your eyes, think of a memory of middle school, junior high? You're 11, 12, 13. Like imagine, like, do me a favor, just for fun. Close your eyes real quick. Just close your eyes. Just try to think of any memory, the first memory that pops in your head from junior high. If it was you going on a bus, maybe it was you in school, maybe it was that time the girl said yes or no to you, or the boy punched you in the face, or whatever it is, right? Like, we have these memories that you can remember like it was yesterday. Like it was yesterday. So open your eyes. How long ago was that? Don't say it out loud. How long ago was that for some of y'all? Don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud. Some of y'all be like, that was 76 years ago. It's an old college student. Yeah. Whatever it is, like, you can remember it like it was yesterday. So I put that into perspective for you because you're going to go to multiple sections today. Here's the good news. Jason, he's the man. He sets up like all-star. Like, this is an all-star cast. This is like all-star weekend in the NBA. These are the best players coming out from all different modalities, all different, like, so my energy level is going to be way different than somebody else. Everybody's going to be good. Everybody's going to be good. The question you have to ask yourself is, what is it that you want to get out of today? And this week, it's a week of events. I get that, right? You're going to have people speaking. Like my best friend in the whole world is Virgil Bates. He's going to be speaking. You're going to love when he's speaking. Whatever you're doing, don't miss out. That dude's an incredible guy, right? So you want to be here for that. But what happens in this short period of time is this kind of theme of anger is going to come up, and it's fascinating. In my session, we're going to focus on this and how you actually turn that into becoming a more important, powerful leader. But here's the thing, anger is a really interesting experience and feeling. How you experience it, like it comes in little ways. Like some of you are going to be like, right before the food comes out, some of y'all are the most angry you've ever been in your life, right? Like when they start saying announcements like, all right, we're going to be doing this session, like if you just don't let me eat that food, then I'll smell over here. We're going to have problems, right? So have you ever heard the word hangry? So I actually heard this word the other day. I thought it was really funny. It was slangry. People are angry because they're sleeping. You ever seen those people? They get enough sleep in the morning and just slangry. Right? Well, I just want you to think about that. We're going to come back to it a lot. But I'm going to show you, here's the good news. Anger is not what you think it is. You're going to hear some things today I promise you you've never heard before. Ever. Once you hear it, it's going to make perfect sense to you. Anger is not what you think it is. I'm going to tell you what it actually is. I'm going to show you how to find out what it means for you. Here's the greatest news. I'm going to show you how to harness it. Because, alright, it's so funny. I was supposed to come down, I live in upstate New York, right? I was supposed to travel down, I said, alright, let me fly into New York City. And I was like, all of the, like, what is it called? The snow genesis? What is the thing? The bomber cycle? The bomber genesis? The snow that came down, it was like negative 44 degrees yesterday, right? It was just so cold. Bomb cycle. What's that? What's it called? Bomb cyclone. I watched the Weather Channel. Anyway, so I was like, let me not fly in, let me drive. I was like, no, let me not drive because I don't know what the driving conditions will be like. Let me take the train. So I was like, the train, simple, right? Straight line. You just go from here to here. Very easy. The train was 6-hour delayed because of the weather. So I thought this isn't gonna work. Let me jump on the bus. Right? So I canceled my ticket, went to the bus. I was like, yo, y'all buses running? They said, yeah, jumped on the bus. It's fascinating. So I get in the Port Authority, Penn Station. Right? You guys ever go? Like, it's fascinating. So I get off the train, and I see this guy talking to one of the clerks, I guess the people who give the tickets. And this is what I hear, and if you don't like hard language, this is you should be here. I'm just telling you what I heard. Right? He said, I'll smack the shit out of you! And I was like, she's giving you a bus ticket. Like, what could she have possibly done? Like, in that transaction, to warrant you wanting to smack me out of. Like, it was a woman too. Like, it was a guy getting mad at me. I'm like, she couldn't, like, I mean, like, even if she was like salty, like, have some respect, you know. But it was just, and I just saw it. And I just saw it constantly over and over. And I just looked into people's eyes. And sometimes I like to look at people and just try to, like, you ever do that? You ever look at people and just try to make up a story about what their life is like? Why did they make the decisions they made? Why did they dress the way they dress? What happened to them? Is it good? Is it bad? Like, I just feel like I people watch. Like, I love people in general. But also, sometimes, like, when I was younger, I was totally a creep with it, because I'd be like, I didn't realize other people could see me, right? So I'd be looking at other people, but I didn't realize they could see me, so I would just stare at people, and you know, you can't be staring at people. But it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. I was listening to a Jay-Z interview with the New York Times a couple of months ago. He said something that was so good and deep, I never thought about it. He said what would happen in, you know, and I grew up in Brooklyn, so this happened all the time. Have you ever seen a fight happen because someone said, why are you looking at me? What you looking at? Now here's what's fascinating. He said what happens in that moment is the person actually is angry that you see them. But think of what you're looking at. Why are you looking at me? Because the odds are very high that that person is seeing you and they don't like it, they're in pain of some sort. Because happy people don't do that. You get that? Like Will Smith would never punch you in the face for looking at him. Like, I just don't think that would happen. He seems pretty joking. But when there's pain inside of you, you actually don't want someone to see you in that pain. So if I see you in that pain, he said you're willing to fight, if not kill someone, because I see you. So it's fascinating how that anger shows up. So you're on a train, you're like, what you looking at? It's like, well, maybe I saw you in a moment when you felt angry. So you react, because you know what's great about anger? Very socially acceptable. You ever see someone who's angry about everything and they're like a bad one? I don't like people. I just don't like anymore. And they like, and everyone's like, oh, okay. I mean, just look, this is not a political conversation, but just look what happened in politics right now. People are just angry. But they're trying to hide something. That anger. It's hiding something. I'm going to break down exactly what it's hiding. And I want you to do some introspection to it. Now here's what's going to be interesting. You have a choice. Going into the depths of this, you can either go, safe place, let's jump in, or you can go, it's too uncomfortable. I don't like it. So I'm going to be here, but I'm not going to be here. You all mastered that phase, by the way. I've been doing this for over 12 years now. It's my 12th year traveling around the country. I've spoken to over 500,000 people, 48 states, 5 countries. I've spoken at the White House. I've spoken at the inner city. I've spoken at billion-dollar corporations. I've met incredible amounts of people. What I found fascinating is that people have mastered this space. It's a great space. You all mastered it. You ever been in class? You're looking at your teacher. They're teaching. You're even nodding your head, and it looks like 100% you're paying attention, but on the inside, you have no idea what's been happening for the last 15 minutes. You mastered it. We all have. And then the worst part is when they say, what do you think about that? You're like, huh? I agree. So here's what happens. Whenever I notice a big moment's going to happen in your life, a breakthrough, I'll give you some words of wisdom that was given to me from people smarter than me. Whenever something really big is about to happen for you, you get confused, you get sleepy, and you want to do something different. You ever had that feeling? I gotta write a paper, I'm so tired now. I don't know what's there, I don't like this. I don't know what's happening right now. And here's the difficult part, right? Because this is very important. This is more on a personal level for me. This is a part of what we're supposed to talk about. This is personal. There's a huge challenge today that's never existed before. In those moments where breakthroughs happen, where like life gets better, there's that point of sleepiness, confusion, tired, like you want to do something else. Never before could we actually at any time engage that. Because now, if you feel bored, tired, confused, what can you pull out that's in your pocket? Your phone. So here's what happens. How many of you, and just be honest, you've ever done the, let me go to sleep, let me just check my Instagram real quick before I go to sleep, and it turns into 4 a.m. and you're like, how did I get here? Like, maybe it's Snapchat, maybe it's Perez Hilton, whatever your thing is. Everyone's got an internet fixation. Yeah, we start watching videos, like we've all started watching 60-second videos that took 12 hours of our day, and we say we don't have time to do our work. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all been there, because here's what happens. You take out your phone, you can never get to the bottom of it. Like, the internet has no bottom. Does that make sense? Like, you can't watch every video that's been created on here. Like, you can't. You can find the funniest videos, and there's just an unlimited amount for you to be entertained by at any moment. And now they got unlimited, like, 4G on a lot of plans. So you're like, it's not even messing up my data game. I can just go to town. Now people don't even care about Wi-Fi. They're like, I don't want the Wi-Fi. I got unlimited, right? You just keep it moving. But here's what happens. When those moments of breakthrough happen, when those moments of introspection happen, when those moments of thinking about the important things in life, you feel confused, you feel bored, you feel tired. So what do? I don't like being bored and confused. Let me pull out my phone real quick until I get inspired by that. And then you watch it, and here's what happens. You're not even laughing at what you're looking at. It just is inside. You're like, that was beautiful. I'll double tap that. So I encourage you to be aware of that, because we're going to go into introspection today. Right? I think it's very important to go there. If you start noticing yourself going, what's he talking about? Well, let me see, like it's been about 20 minutes since I checked any notifications. I posted something that was hot fire like an hour ago. Let me see if I got any comments real quick, right? You pull it out. That is literally the moment that amazing is about to happen. You drive yourself. And the challenge with today is that like nobody's gonna tell you not to look at your phone. Like personally, I'm not gonna tell you not to look at your phone. I get it. Like I look at my phone all the time. Like I know this stuff, I still do it. So if you wanna look at your phone, do it. But you're not hurting me, you're hurting you. Unless you'll be like, yo, I heard a hot quote, you want to share it with your friend. Like, that's cool, right? You want to take a picture, be like, this girl's hair is amazing, bang! And you want to take a picture and share it, that's fine too, right? But there are going to be moments in which you're going to use it in perspective. And I promise you, today, for someone, it'll be one of the most important moments in your life. I know that's a big question, but I'm not saying it because I'm special. I'm not saying it because I know some magic sauce that someone else doesn't know. Here's what I'm saying. When you allow yourself to go into deep places, greatness gets created. When we live in a society where we don't go into those places, it's just easy not to. And then what happens is, it's called dull pain. It's very important. I want you to remember this. Okay? It's called dull pain. Here's what sharp pain is. You bend over, you like pop your knee out, you fall on the floor. Sharp pain. Does that make sense? I need to do something about this, right? Like right now, all of you are busy, I get it. If your knee popped out, God forbid, the right side of your leg, everything stops until you get that, until you get it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Dull pain is, I'm not sure what I should be doing with my life. And I don't like the way that feels. But I don't know what the answer is. If I knew what the answer is, I would do something. But I don't know what the answer is. So since I don't know what the answer is, let me just watch the video. Let me just look at some media. Let me just watch World Star and watch some fights. Let me watch people who have a worse life than me on TV. Right? But what happens is that pain of I don't know what to do with my life, it's always there. It doesn't go away. It stays constant. And it's dull. It hurts. So it's present. You don't address it because that's painful. And then you go, well, I'm not trying to show that. And some of y'all, here's what I love about speaking at Hostos. I've been speaking here over a decade now. I get invited back 1-2 times a year. So it's probably like my 20th time speaking. I mean, like this was actually, and Jason was here, I would say, I was embarrassed. He was one of the first people ever in my career to book me to speak. Ever. Right? Like it was an honor for me. You all are so unique. I literally come back here every year because I love people get attracted to this. Some of y'all stories are incredible. You grew up in other countries, you you dealt with things that just, if you wrote a book about people, you'd be like, how did you get the book of this stuff? You're here because they're not here about it. Because there's just something special about it. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. But the challenge is dealing with people going through divorce, going to school, it not working out, getting back into school, dealing with education, work, raising a family. Just this is all represented here. Jason, how many languages are spoken in like your English academy on average?
I think it's about 84 different countries. There's some countries like Ghana, with 50 languages.
Right, so just take the first thing, so about 84 different countries that are like the amount of culture that's here is special. I've not seen a video else. Right? I'm sure it exists. But I just don't think so. I love doing that. I love Jason. Like I knew this guy before he had a kid, before he was married, before he, what is this? Fleece? Is he fleeces now? Fleeces. Usually, if y'all know Jason, he's thinking about this suit and tie, the fleeces, so he's calming down, he's relaxing a little bit. I like it, Jason. Bring your round of applause for Jason. He's relaxing, he's just incredibly good. And you'll get to know, for those of you who don't know Jason, you'll get to see he cares at a deep level. Like a deep level. I see him post things, I have conversations. There's still students I met a decade ago from Hostos I still talk to. We still talk to. And I hear about his dedication, his care, come back, it's a special place. So if you're here, just know, you're around special people. And just to give you a little insight, I know something about all of y'all. I know this for a fact, because you're here today, so I know it's about you. You're all really weird people. Now I'm gonna explain why I say that. You don't, a lot of other people, they don't get why you think the way you think. Sometimes you probably find it difficult for people to connect with other people, for them to just you. Sometimes you might look at people am I crazy? Because I feel like sometimes everyone else is crazy. So if everyone else is crazy, maybe I'm crazy. And what I found is that those kind of people, those are the people who change the world, those are the people who make a difference. And there's so few of us, unfortunately. Because think of how many people could be here today. And how many people aren't here today. It's numerically just the way the world works. It's the reason why 2% of the people control 98% of the world. That's why that happens. There's a small percentage of people that control almost everything. Because most people aren't willing to do the work it takes. Here's what I love about this country. Say what you dislike or like about this country. What I love about this country, we may not all be equal. They say equal. I don't believe we're all equal. I think we all have equal opportunity. We all have, people have the opportunity to be here. You get that? You all had the opportunity, whether you showed up or not because of whatever you thought was life, that's on you, right? The opportunity to be here is here. And you'll find there's going to be opportunities to go to model senate, to meet senators, to meet mayors, to meet congressmen, to meet, the opportunity to be here. But if people don't take it, it's quite one of those things when people say things like, man, college sucks. No, college doesn't suck. You suck. College is amazing. I had the greatest years of my life in college. Yeah. Thank you. I didn't have the greatest years of my life. I don't want to say it that way, but it was a great time. I met my wife, I met my best friend, I met my business partners, I figured out what I wanted to do. I wanted an incredible person. It was an incredible experience. It's not that I was lucky, it's that I showed up to events like this. That's all I think that's all I did really way different than people around me. I took life seriously younger, that's all. And these things you're going to show up to here that you don't even think are benefiting. I promise you, Jason's going to be like, hey y'all, we're doing this community service Sunday morning, 9 a.m. And you're going to be like, oh hell no, Jason, ain't nobody trying to be there. But that might be the moment where something happens. It just happens. If you don't show up, you can't be mad that you don't have the opportunity. I think there's an epidemic of people wanting the benefits, but they don't want to put in the work to get the benefits. Right? It's an epidemic. I'm seeing a lot of people, why don't I have this? You gotta work for it. Work more than you ever, don't be afraid of work. Right? This is all everything I'm talking about around, not what I plan on talking about, just feel it now. I'm just gonna go here just for a little bit before we continue. Don't be afraid of work. No matter what you do, my mentor told me this. He said, I promise you, you'll either be two things at the end of the day. Everybody is in life. You'll get two options. You're either tired or you're exhausted. What's the difference between the two? Tired is, I'm sick and tired. I hate this. This is annoying. Why do I have to do this? That's a dreadful thing. Okay? Exhausted is, I just ran a marathon. I'm exhausted. Like I did something poorly, and it took everything I had to do it, and I got a rest. No one gets out of those two. You get that? Like, no one. The person you love to watch the most, your favorite celebrity, they work. That's why they're your favorite celebrity. You might look at like right now, I think Cardi B is probably one of the hottest female rappers kind of right now. She works really hard. You don't produce that much content. You don't go to that many things. It made like it's like almost constructed to look like she's just playing and having fun. I'm sure she's enjoying herself. But you either are tired or you're exhausted. That's it. Most people are tired. I'm exhausted at the end. Sometimes I get tired for sure. I try to be exhausted as much as I can. Like I want to give everything I can in a day because also, frankly speaking, you could all die tomorrow or today. Like you get that, right? Like I hope it doesn't happen. But we've all had someone go too soon in our lives. You don't want your day. Like it's kind of morbid, but I asked myself, like, if this was the last like Facebook post I ever did, is this how I want to go out? Kind of thing. Like if today was my last day and I died, how would I be remembered based on what I did? That doesn't mean every day is a great day and every day is a successful day. But if you come in with that mindset, when the day actually comes, which it will, you'll be okay, bro. That's what you really hope for, right? Like the day I die, like I'm okay with it. Like I think that's the greatest thing you can have at that. Like I did everything I possibly could with my things. And you're gonna make horrible choices. It's like some of you are so bad with your decision making up until this point in time. Right? That's life. You chose bad people to be in your life, you made poor decisions, you invested money in poorly. Like no one gets out of that. Get that? The pain comes from where you think you should. It creates anger. So let's talk about anger. What is anger? If you had to guess, just throw it out at me. If you had to say, and don't like look up dictionary.com and stuff. Like for you, if you look at anger, what would you say it is? Like if you had to describe it to someone, you would say anger is frustration. Okay, what else? What is it?